From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
American Door Company has been family-owned and operated for over 29 years, supplying Northern California with quality garage doors, garage door openers, and installed with the best service you'd expect from a locally owned company. We serve all of Northern California from Willows all the way to the Oregon state line. Give us a call today.
Well, happy Friday to you. What a week it has been. As a forecaster, boy, I've been waking up extra early. I've been looking at the forecast models, trying to keep you ahead of the storm. And take a look at how we fared through the week here. Now, the heaviest rainfall, we're kind of on the very tail end of this atmospheric river, which is all going to be shifting southward. But the eastern mountains in Modoc County will really feel the effects today, which we'll get into a little bit later. But take a look at the rainfall. Now, I want you to go back to when we were looking at some of the forecast rainfall totals, and it was picking upwards of 8, even 9 inches of rain, especially for Chico and Redding. And there was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of doubt in the community saying, that seems a little high. Well, look at this. I mean, this is how much we've seen so far, and there's going to be more on top of that. By the way, the airport, a lot different than what the airport was, more closer to, say, 6 inches. But I've been getting reports in the Redding area yesterday, not including what we saw tonight, last night, and this morning, upwards of 10 to even 12 inches plus, which will probably put us in the 13 inches plus in some areas here when we include what we saw last night and even today. So definitely a lot of rainfall for parts of the valley. A bit of a shadowing here, still some decent rain, but typically don't see as much rain there. A lot of shadowing here. And of course, the coast actually seeing less. That's because the atmospheric river is pointed right here. That's where we saw most of the rain, right? Didn't quite see as much for the coast as a result. Now again, we're going to go into more where that atmospheric river is now, where it's expected to go, but let's get you through for those of you in a hurry. And for those of you that are new to Weather NorCal and discovered this for the first time, welcome. My name is meteorologist Mike Kruger. You may remember me, but I've been doing this for over a year and a half. And I've got a website, weathernorcal.com. I've got a free 24-hour streaming channel available on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick. I've got an app. Search for Weather NorCal on your app, and you can download the app for free. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there if you're new to this. But here's a look at Kruger's Quickcast. And the point to this is, for those of you that are in a hurry, you don't want to watch my 15, 20-minute forecast. You just want to know what's going on for the day. Well, here it is. And you can see here, it's going to be a wet start to the day for pretty much everyone. But it's not going to be the steady rainfall that we've been seeing here for the last few days. We're getting some breaks in there. Look at the chain requirements this morning. Looking a lot better, isn't it? I mean, the only thing we have is a closure on Scott Mountain. Otherwise, no chain requirements. Yay, right? But that'll probably change by the weekend as we do have some more snow in the forecast. All right, so we still have this atmospheric river right here, but what's happening is it will be shifting to the south as this area of low pressure and this storm system shifts off to the east. We'll see that column of moisture shift to the south as well. So let's take a look at futurecast here through tonight. Here's this morning. Heaviest rainfall is off to the east of the valley. We're seeing some of those scattered showers, but you see where all the moisture is really pointed to? Yeah, by noon, most of it is pointed to Plumas County in particular, but even Lassen and Modoc County getting in on it. Behind that, not so much. Just scattered showers, and as we go through the afternoon, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. But again, we go into 5 p.m., look where most of that moisture is. Modoc, Lassen, Plumas, even eastern portions of Shasta, Tehama, and Butte counties as well. That's where moisture left over from that atmospheric river is really streaming northward up into this region here off to the east. Again, in the meantime, just scattered showers and your typical cool and unsettled weather pattern. So here are the winds. They've been pretty gusty out there last night and this morning, and some of you haven't really been experiencing winds since day one, and that means you probably won't experience the winds with this one either. But as we go into tonight and this afternoon, we'll probably start to see those winds begin to die down across the board, and that'll be the case on Saturday as well. Now, we can take a look at your forecast for today, and you see the lightning strikes looks pretty ominous. Not everyone's going to see the lightning strikes. There's just going to be that chance. Otherwise, scattered showers here for the valley westward with that heavier rainfall off to the east here throughout the day today. Here's a look at your 7-day outlook. Again, looks pretty ominous. Not everyone will see those thunderstorms. It's just scattered showers, bottom line, but we could see a straight thunderstorm in there. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, scattered showers. A bit of a break. Now, I had mentioned that there's going to be a break, and everyone's saying, hallelujah, a break, that's great. And then, you know, some people kind of saying, oh, we need the rain. All right, well, we need it in moderation, folks. You don't want rain every day, every single day, is just coming down like it was for the last few days. It's nice to get a break for our sanity. It's good for our mental health as well to get those sunny days in there. We need that vitamin D every once in a while. All right, so I'm just going to say that. Yes, the rain is always nice, but it's always nice to get that break as well. Well, all right, so there you can see we're dry for Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Mount Shasta, Modoc County, and the Eastern Mountains. Now, I've got you dry for Susanville and Lassen County in general for Sunday, because I think it's going to be dry through most of the day. You'll see that when we look at the longer range forecast, but there's those drier conditions for Wednesday, Thursday. All right, that's Kruger's Quickcast. If that's all you need, have a great day. But for those of you who want more, I've got a lot more of it. And again, I just want to reiterate, for those of you that are new, I've got an app. All you have to do is go to your iPhone or your Android, search for Weather NorCal, and you can download the app for free. And you can share your weather photos as well. That's really cool. And by the way, don't forget about weathernorcal.com, and don't forget about the 24-hour streaming channel, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and YouTube. And it's also available on the website. So search for Weather NorCal in your Roku app store, and you'll be good to go, not to mention Fire Stick. All right, so let's get into it. The focus turns to the potential for flooding, mudslides, and debris flows. Now, if we haven't seen the mudslides and debris flows at this point, chances are they may not occur, because you kind of need those heavier downpours to really help induce that. So far I haven't seen any reports of any, but of course that may change. Weaker winds across the board here, especially as we go into tonight. Snow levels dropping this weekend, but not as heavy as what we saw this last couple of days ago. And then a drier trend as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday. So this is the cold front that's producing the winds here. It's pushing eastward. It's also helping to kind of generate some of the rain that we are seeing. So essentially, as this moves eastward, that's going to push that atmospheric river down to the south. And as a result, we're not getting that constant stream. That hose will no longer be aimed right at Northern California, especially by the time we get into tonight and into tomorrow. But some cold, I'm going to take you back to that map here. This is some cold and unstable air right here. That's what's going to be moving in over the next few days. This right here is our classic cool and unsettled weather pattern. Yes, you hear me say it all the time in the winter. You're going to hear me say it again. I'm back to that phrase because that's essentially what we're looking at here. This is going to give us stray showers off and on, and maybe even a chance for a few thunderstorms. So again, here's the atmospheric river this morning. You see, it's not over here, right? You see how it's not right over us? Now it's shifting more to the south. So the influence of this moisture is less. But you see this little tongue right here? That's why we're seeing more rain for places like Lassen County, also into Modoc County as well. But as we go into the weekend, that all shifts to the south, and now it's just that cold and unstable air in place. All right, so again, I was talking about that little sliver off to the east. Even this morning, we're seeing most of it off to the east here. Then, look at the snow levels too, fairly high, 7,000 to 8,000 feet. By noon, that's where most of the rain is, right? That was that little sliver of yellow you saw on that moisture content map, just the one we just looked at. Off to the west, right, we've got dry conditions, scattered showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm this afternoon. But look where all that rain is. It's all off to the east. So for those of you in Alturas, Susanville, Modoc County, Lassen, Plumas counties in general, you're saying, well, where's our rain? Well, you're going to get it today, is I think what's going to happen. And then behind that, those of you are going to say, finally a break, but still some scattered showers and still a potential for some thunderstorms. And snow levels are beginning to drop today as well as that colder air begins to move in. And see what's happening? By tomorrow morning, a lot more blue on the map. That's the snow. So snow levels are dropping again. So if you're traveling in the mountains tomorrow, please be aware, especially east of I-5, you definitely will be running into some chain requirements. There's no doubt about that if this pans out. And then you can see here, I think you'll be okay on Highway 299. It'll just be wet, but check the latest road conditions before heading out. And then you can see here, it's getting borderline around Mount Shasta I-5. So as we go through the afternoon, it kind of breaks apart. It's not as heavy. Still some scattered showers out there, still some scattered snow flurries, but conditions will most likely improve. You can see even going into Saturday afternoon, not a whole lot of activity. So really Saturday is kind of the lull in all this activity here, but still some stray showers and maybe even an isolated thunderstorm and still some stray snow flurries in the mountains. Sunday morning, we're going to still see that lull in the activity, but then going through the day, the coast getting hit first, then eventually in the afternoon and evening, so is the valley. There's that snow. And yeah, I think it could hit I-5. If this is a heavier downpour, we could be looking at more snow for places like Mount Shasta City on I-5 as well. Is this going to have the same impacts as we saw on a couple of days ago? No, because it's not going to be going on for a long period of time. This is just going to hit for a couple of hours, and then it will shift off to the east, and it won't be quite as heavy. Now, for today, we're switching now our focus on that flood risk. So you can see we're looking anywhere from marginal, slight to moderate here for many parts of Northern California. And now looking at this map, the thing is, I could spend a half an hour labeling each and every single one of these. It would take forever. Bottom line is this. This is all basic. Almost all of Northern California, with the exception of Modoc County, almost all of Northern California is under some kind of flood warning, flood watch, or flood advisory. All right, so what does all this mean? Which one am I under? Do I need to be concerned? Quite honestly, no, you don't really need to be too terribly concerned, but I'll tell you this. There are areas that are going to be more impacted by others. And that really, the main influence and the main conditions that we're dealing with here are rising creeks and streams and rivers. You see, you think about what's happened over the last few days. We've been looking at a lot of rainfall. It takes time for the terrain to really react to that rain or to feel the impacts of that rain. So what happens is several hours, if not days after, or even 12 to 24 hours after that heavy rainfall, you start to see those rivers, creeks, and streams begin to rise. And why is that? Well, it's been pretty dry. So think of the ground as a sponge. And when it first starts to rain, that ground is absorbing all that rain, and that's great. But then eventually it gets oversaturated and it has nowhere to go. So then it starts to run off, and it goes into the creeks and streams and rivers. And as a result, they start to rise. But it's not forever. That runoff is going to be coming down forever and ever, right? So it's going to go up, the creeks and streams will go up, and then they go down. So here's a look at the latest as of this morning. Yellow indicating kind of in the action stage. That's just right before it hits, or it's approaching the flood stage. This right here is actually in the moderate. So it's actually over the flood stage, and you can see that here along the coast. We'll take a closer look at that in a second. Elsewhere, you can see for parts of the Sacramento River, it's just below that flood stage, but it's approaching it. Elsewhere, it's just in the green for now. But that will be changing for many of these areas here. So let's take a look at Mad River near Arcata. This is on the coast. You can see it's going to crest at 10 o'clock this morning at 22.6 feet. That's just barely above the flood stage. Once that happens, it goes back down again. For Eel River, it's expected to go up. It's already at the major, at the moderate flood stage. It will just crest right at the major flood stage, and then it will start to slowly drop. So that's really the biggest area of concern. If you live in that area, you know what happens, right? So just be prepared for that. Van Duzen River near Bridgeville, you can see it's going to get up to about 17.2 at 8 a.m. this morning. And then it starts to drop again. Again, that's what I was talking about. The water is all coming down in, but it's not going to be coming forever because it's not raining forever, right? So that's what's happening here. It's kind of like when you turn on your faucet and then you turn it off. That's essentially what's happening here. All right, so take a look at the Susan River at Susanville. Now we're in Lassen County. You can see it's going to crest at 10 o'clock tonight at 11.9 feet. That's just really, quite honestly, just below that minor flood stage. So it's going to be really close. And it could reach the flood stage, right? It's going to be very close. Sacramento River at Tehama Bridge, it's going to crest. You can kind of see it's kind of leveling off, and then it will kind of go back up again. So you can see at 8 p.m. tonight, 210 feet. That, again, is just barely above the flood stage. Barely. All right? And then you can see the Sacramento River at Ord Ferry. It's expected to crest at 113 on Saturday at 12 p.m. So it's not until tomorrow at noon. You can see how it's just slowly kind of creeping up, and then it goes back down. But it never, at this point, at least based on the current forecast, it's not quite reaching that flood stage just yet. But it will be close. So what can we take from all of this? Well, what we can take from all of this is that this is not a major, major, major flood event. I think you're going to see some ponding on the roadways. You're going to see, we've seen that, right? But I think really where we're seeing the biggest concern here is Eel River, right, at Fern Bridge. That's the biggest concern. Otherwise, you're just barely reaching that flood stage in many cases here, and it won't be at that stage for a long time as it will start to drop again. But there you can see the rainfall totals through Sunday. Yeah, I mean, these numbers are getting a lot smaller, right? Because we're just not seeing as much rain at this point, with the exception of off to the east. All right, we switch gears now. Let's talk about the snow. And we do have a winter storm warning above 7,000 feet, but it'll be lower than that through Saturday, 4 p.m. today until Tuesday of next week for the foothills and mountains just east of the valley. That's for mainly elevations above 5,000 feet, but they could drop down to 3,500 feet. And for 4 p.m. today through 4 p.m. Saturday, a winter weather advisory for northern Trinity County. And that's really going to be impacting Scott Mountain, which is already still closed. It's also impacting Highway 299. Here's the thing, and we saw that when we were looking at the Futurecast. It was getting pretty close. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going into tomorrow, just be aware that you should check those road conditions on Highway 299 before heading out. Here's today at 6 p.m. Here's Saturday, 5 p.m. So here's Highway 299. See how we're just not seeing much of that snow making its way on the highway there? It'll be close. We can't rule that out, but most of it would be up north. Most of it definitely will be off to the east. But, even I-5 will have a hard time. Looks like maybe by Sunday a better chance for some of that snow making its way towards Mount Shasta City. But you can see, yeah, I mean, we're seeing a little bit of snow, maybe a couple of inches of snow out towards Mount Shasta City and maybe even Alturas as well. And the ski park. I always love to talk about the ski. It's almost getting close to the ski season, right? So through Saturday morning, all right, yeah, maybe some snow. I mean, this is not a big deal, but looks like by Sunday, yeah, you're talking maybe a foot of fresh snow. Great to see that, right? All right, chain requirements. Well, there are none. I showed you that a little bit earlier. That's the only closure that we have out there. We're clear for now, but that will probably change by tomorrow, especially east of I-5. All right, we switch gears now. We talk about the winds. We have a wind advisory until 10 o'clock this morning for the valley. High wind warning off to the northeast. High wind warning for the north coast until 8 o'clock this morning, so that'll be allowed to expire. The winds overall, what we're expecting to see here for today, they'll just start to die down later this afternoon and evening. Saturday will be much better when we're talking about those winds, although a little gusty, especially out towards Crescent City. And then Sunday morning, the wind's pretty gusty here for the coast and even out towards Shasta Valley in central Siskiyou County. And then a little gusty for some of us on Sunday afternoon as well. But again, not a major wind event. So there it is. There is that kind of last little bit of moisture that we have. And see where it is. It's pointed down to the Bay Area. And then it kind of goes up on the east side of the mountains. That's where we're seeing the bulk of the rain today. But then cold and unstable air is moving in. So there's that little bit of that break we were showing you on Saturday. Then by Sunday, the next system comes on in. You see this little spin of low pressure? That's just that cold and unstable air that's taking these disturbances, rotating it around it. And we've got those showers on Monday, possibly on Tuesday. Then by Wednesday and Thanksgiving Day, there it is. It's drying out. Now, we'll have to watch this. We'll have to see if this maybe impacts our weather by the time we get into Friday or Saturday. But you can kind of see it doesn't. It shifts down to the south. We've got this ridge of high pressure that's kind of trying to come on in. So as a result, the Climate Prediction Center is now, as we get to the end of the month, early next month, we're in the drier than normal category. So a bit of a break from all the wet weather that we've seen here. And that's a welcome sight, I think, for most people. All right, we take a look at your wave heights. They are starting to drop here for tomorrow. We take a look at your marine forecast for today. I meant to change that because I did notice that a bit earlier, but it's 15 to 20 knots, not 215. 15 to 20 knots, small craft advisory here for today. Although we still have that gale warning through 9 o'clock this morning. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures 40s and even some 50s in there. We take out to the north coast, 58 for Blue Lake, 57 for Honeydew, 55 degrees for Shelter Cove. You see the chance with thunderstorms in there. Doesn't mean everyone's going to see them, but that chance is certainly going to be there nonetheless. 51 degrees for Happy Camp, 51 for Gazelle. Dunsmuir about 48 degrees, and off and on chances for showers. Snow levels, you'll notice, averaging around, just got 35 all the way down the board here. They're going to average there. I mean, there will be times it kind of goes above that, maybe below that a little bit here, but that's kind of the average. And then we take you into Modoc County. I think the average there will be about 4,000 to 4,500 feet. And you've got things drying out by Wednesday and Thursday. Here's your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s. I put a bit of a break there for Sunday, especially for Lassen County, because I think it's going to take a while before a Sunday system comes on in. And then we take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamuth Painting. Your temperatures will be in the upper 50s for today. Looks ominous, looks pretty bad, doesn't it? But no, we're not going to see thunderstorms across the board. There's a chance we may not even see one lightning strike for for the next couple of days, but the chance is out there. Cold and unstable, and if we get some breaks in those clouds and some sunshine, that could create some convective thunderstorms. But there you can see temperatures in the upper 50s here up to the north. Here's your 7-day outlook for Redding, and again, windy conditions here for today. The wind should die down by tomorrow. If we don't see thunderstorms, just scattered showers, and it's going to be off and on. What we're going to experience today, at least in the valley westward, through Tuesday is your typical cool and unsettled weather pattern. And what does that mean? That means a mix of sun, some clouds, every once in a while a shower, and sometimes maybe even a brief downpour as well. But temperatures staying on the cool side. Even though we're drying out for Wednesday and Thanksgiving Day, it'll still be cool with temperatures only reaching the mid to upper 50s. That's your morning update. I'll be back again this afternoon and evening. This afternoon, of course, at noon, this evening at 6 p.m. And have yourselves a great morning.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Moth Painting.
It's Wogamoth painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.